Time being 7 o'clock on February 4th, 2019. I'd like to call our Board of Health meeting to order. First on the agenda, as always, is the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Next up on the agenda, Alex, do you have
Like a substance awareness kind of
Yeah.
thing? I do. It's just very light.
Sure.
It's just, so as of, for the Brook Retreat that's coming to Abington, there's no specific date yet. I actually just had a conversation with one of the founders last week about doing a walkthrough of the place and everything and what they plan on doing and everything. So I'm excited looking forward to that. And then they're more than willing to come to one of our meetings and chat a little bit about the Brook Retreat and what they stand for and how they help the community. So I'm looking forward to that one. Trying to think what else for. Oh, so the next Abington Substance Awareness Coalition meeting is going to be next Wednesday, February 13th at 7 p.m. For this meeting, we're actually having a special, the coalition has invited a special guest. So former NHL player David Jensen is coming from the Overlook House in Milton. He's going to be coming to the coalition just to be speaking and everything and just giving an update on what they do as well. Because now the coalition is trying to, so for every monthly meeting we have, they want to invite a speaker to come in, just to revamp up the coalition, which is great. Another thing that happened, so this one I'm going to have to read, I'm sorry, forgive me.
That's all right.
So on January 18th, 2019, State Representative Allison Sullivan filed legislation in the state legislature to amend an act, so this is the act, an act to combat the opioid addiction epidemic, Bill HD 3944. The filed legislation would amend Section 13C of Chapter 11 AE. This is what it was changed to. Notwithstanding any general or specific law to the contrary, the Secretary of Health and Human Services shall not set the rate for adult residential, behavioral health and addiction treatment lower than $125 a day. It was a co-sponsored bill's amendment, I should say, so that went over well. So thank you to Representative Sullivan for that. And the last thing what I will mention, because it does have to do with substance awareness and addictions. Lastly, on January 26th, 2019, so on my last Saturday was my birthday. So on January 26th, United States President Donald Trump has donated his salary the third quarter of 2018, $100,000 to the federal agency that researches alcoholism and alcohol-related problems, which is the National Institute of Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism, which abbreviated is NIAAA. So thank you, Mr. President, for that. There's definitely more needs to be done in research and helping people struggling with addiction. So that is my update for this week.
Excellent, thank you for that. Does anybody have any questions for Alex? No, thank you so much for all that you do. Next on the agenda, I have marijuana regs. I don't know if that's how it came out on the other agenda, but this is what I typed in. And we have copies of the marijuana regs. We've had copies of the marijuana regs. I don't know how you guys want to do this. Do you want to go line by line? Do you want to... As I was looking through these things, I know there's two things on here that the Cannabis Commission hasn't finished dealing with. They sent out a report on this past Friday that they weren't going to allow edibles to be licensed for these things until February 1st, and which was Friday, but I haven't heard anything since then because I think everybody's been a little preoccupied in this part of the world. And the other thing that they wanted to not authorize was deliveries. I don't want to use a company name, but whether a company would deliver things instead of having people walk to this store. Some towns have found that to be a better way to go because of traffic, what have you. But as we said last time, I think that as they get more shops, there'll be less traffic too. So those are two things that the Cannabis Commission are reviewing. And so those two things are in here. But they are going to, so we can vote on it.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to accept the draft as written.
Okay,
I'll second that motion.
there we go. So we have a motion to accept the draft as written. We have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? We have everybody in favor and nobody opposed.
That was easy.
Next up, that's right.
Home heating complaints?
I believe Marty had one more, as of this past week.
Oh, let me-
Let me,
Let me look it up, I have it saved
I
on
think
my,
you said there were two.
I
There were two, but he
printed
had
up,
one more.
yeah, complaints?
Yeah, I talked to him this morning, because I was
Yeah,
asking
I
about
printed out
something
the
else.
email that he sent out. He didn't have anything to add for the marijuana regs, just that he would make them available for the vote, and I'm more saying that for the public.
now does that, so now that goes to town council?
Now that goes to town council, yes. We might have to add things
Yeah, and then it will come
as
back
time goes
adjusted
on.
or whatever.
Exactly.
Okay,
I have a feeling that when it comes back, then we'll have some of those other answers. And I also have a feeling that as we get some action,
Mm.
then
We'll
we'll
have
have
to
to
amend
add
it,
things
yeah.
or take things, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? I don't think we can take things away, but I'm pretty convinced
Mm.
that we'll probably have to add things.
yeah, no, I'm figuring we have to add, I'm pretty solid with this right now. You know, I mean,
Excuse me. Yeah. So I just, so I did print out the email that Marty had sent the day that I sent the agenda in. And he said he wouldn't be able to make the next meeting. Please stop by the office if you had any questions. So to answer a few questions, he said that he would make sure that the marijuana regs were here, and we just went over that. The next thing on the agenda, I think you just,
home and heating,
yes, and I got that next here,
Okay.
that you just brought up, was the home heating complaints, and he says here, and this was dated, for what's that, last Thursday, so he's only received 2 calls regarding home heating problems, and both were handled appropriately and to the satisfaction of the residents. If board members receive complaints, please direct residents to contact him immediately. Technically, when we receive requests for inspections for heat violations, we have 24 hours to schedule an inspection. I think that's way too long, so I try to, at the very least, get the property manager, owner on the phone immediately so they can start addressing as soon as possible, and I'm sure that's a challenge, because so many of these things are owned by conglomerates or LC, things. I remember in the past, that being a problem.
Yeah.
Did you say that?
He said that he has received one more complaint, but as he wrote in there, he took care of it.
Okay.
And it wasn't an urgent, but it was at home heating.
Mm-hmm.
I don't recall having complaints in previous years. Is this something that we're?
Well, no, remember a couple of years ago, we had that issue in the condominium
Yeah.
with the heating.
Yeah, they
Remember
put
that whole
they-
condominium unit, the guy
Oh,
was
yeah,
rigging
with
it
that-
up and
yeah.
jerry rigging everything.
Yeah, the jury
He said-
rigging.
yeah, I
Very
don't-
bad word.
I hope it's not the same building.
So,
No, but
Okay.
no.
No, but, and I know that in the past, we've had complaints, I'm thinking of one in particular, of some people will burn their trash, like, in a fireplace, and that gives off, like, fumes and stuff, because you're not supposed to burn that, and we've had complaints of that nature, which is, I consider that to be home heating related,
Well, and then we had
because,
the guy with the wood stove, and the neighbor across Route 139
And there
said
was
he was
that
bothered by
too,
the
yeah.
smoke.
yeah, he
from
wasn't
that.
burning trash.
No.
But, and I just wanted to make that part clear.
Yes, no, he wasn't.
No, but in the past,
Yeah.
we've had those.
But not a lot. We
No.
don't really. We had that one issue with that big apartment complex in
Yeah.
the last probably 3 years.
No, but I do,
But, yeah.
I like to reach out. I like to find these things. I feel like that's why we're here, you know. So I just want to make sure that we got all of that. Does anybody have anything to add about home heating? And I haven't. It's been kind of a mild winter. There've been other years where there've been, you know, those ice dams and all of that stuff too with people in apartments, which I didn't bring that up because it wasn't a concern, but it has been kind of frigid. So if there's nothing else on the home and the heating things.
Town report?
Town report is, thank you so very much. Oh, do you have a copy of the agenda?
It's on her phone.
Oh, okay. I can't
turned
read
my
my
phone
phone.
off, so-
Yeah, I can't read my phone like that anyway. So the town report, thank you to our health agent for putting together the town report. Did you guys all get a chance to read it? Yeah, some of those grant money things were good. Let me see if he has anything for the town report. So there's a couple of things that I didn't have here, but I see here. So the next thing is the inspections, using the new guidelines. I guess he started that today.
The restaurant
It goes
Restaurant
live,
codes
it's gonna go
update.
live on Thursday.
Okay.
And from now on, those new food codes, which Terry didn't get. I don't know if you, because she
You
wasn't
can
at
print them
that
off on
meeting,
the
but yeah.
website, yeah. You
There's
can
just a few adjustments.
I think he sent a link.
Yeah, he did.
So, yeah, so you can just print it out.
It's
'cause-
fairly
yeah,
easy.
Yeah, yeah. The only thing that I was thinking about that, and that came at us kind of cold, was, but he says here that he's gonna continue to inspect the establishments.
Yes.
If he was like planning on not inspecting places that he had to do tobacco anyway, I'd be a little concerned about, I was thinking about the, that area of town where the rodent situation had bloomed out of a dumpster situation. And I don't want to hold anybody.
I don't think we've had a problem.
Well,
Since
the
we've
No.
done
thing is
dumpster
with,
regs,
no,
they've
we haven't had an issue, but the
No,
thing
but
is
if he
with the
doesn't
new
inspect,
food,
then.
with the new food things, any business that has prepackaged food where they're not making food on premises does not need to be inspected.
Okay.
So therefore, the liquor store that's right there that may sell peanuts and chips, and they
Right.
were a big culprit in the rat issue.
But
Would-
we are in charge of the dumpster regulations.
Yes.
So even though we don't
Yes.
inspect the store, we have authority over the dumpster.
Oh, we do have authority. I just didn't want, and I don't know of any circumstance that we have in town now whereupon it exists that they sell those kind of prepackaged food things and do not sell tobacco. And that, in the email, he says inspections of the new guidelines start the first week in February. Everything they need is on the website. I still have to do tobacco inspections. So during the tobacco inspection, even if he didn't have to do the food, he can, and he can drive by a dumpster, you know. It's just that people don't get lax the first day. So I'm just trying to look for the public health and safety.
Well, I hope that they had enough bad press that they're gonna stay
I would
clean.
hope so too, I would hope so
'Cause
too,
they
but
have.
one person sells it, somebody else buys it, they don't know, you know, I just trying to do a little due diligence. So that was, does anybody have anything, he kinda asked for a vote last time.
Yes, to see if we wanted to,
I asked him because this is a response to what I asked to be put on the agenda and the other conversation. The town report, so the compost site, I asked for the compost site volunteers. Oh, I'm sorry. I am so
well, the restaurant
sorry.
code update, do we want to vote on that? Do we want to have Marty continue inspecting places that don't have,
I don't,
that
you
only
know,
have prepackaged food, or would we like him to just not inspect those? I
Thank
think
you.
that's what he wanted to vote on, right?
Yeah,
Thank you.
it
Just
seemed-
because the state just says we don't have to, doesn't mean we won't want to.
Yeah, and it seemed
So
like
we
his.
can add to our regs
Yeah.
and be a little more
Yes.
stringent than the
Yeah.
state.
Yes.
and
Yes.
It
So I
seemed like
missed
his
that.
recommendation was to continue with it,
Yeah.
so.
I would.
I think that's what he kind of was suggesting in his email, which is a little bit contrary to what my feel was. I'd have to recuse myself from that vote, anyway.
Let's vote.
So I'll make a motion to allow Marty to continue inspecting establishments that only sell prepackaged food.
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor?
Right.
Aye.
You can still call the vote.
Okay,
Oh, okay.
all those
I
in
wasn't
favor?
sure. I'm like, okay.
I don't know, you know, you've been chair longer than I have.
Aye.
Okay, so all those in favor, we have 4 ayes and no negatives. So all
One
those in favor say aye, everybody said aye, nobody said no.
Okay.
All right,
Next.
so
Like
next,
volunteers.
next up is, I asked about the compost site volunteers, and I was curious as to where we were on the volunteers and the query and the amount of volunteers. The compost site volunteers, I guess, have been queried, but I still would like to know that, because like, I know I have to be queried, and a query doesn't last forever, you know? They only go for 3 years. So I still have not gotten an answer as to were they queried in 1989, and we're just saying, oh, that's okay? Nobody's
And that
answered me.
They
I
need to
don't
be
have an
quarried
answer.
every 3 years. I don't
Thank you.
understand why the seniors weren't quarried to begin with, because people will be bringing their children into the compost site with them at times.
Marty says that they
And-
are, and
Well, I
they
believe
were.
now they,
I believe they always should be. I
Yes.
did have a conversation with Marty about having them quarried and sorried. He
What
does.
is a sorry?
A sorry is a sexual offender registry. I don't understand why they're not the same.
Oh, I know why
they
not
should
saying.
be, because
I know.
indecent
Yeah, no,
assault would
yeah.
be on a quarry, but it should also be on
And I just think it's for
What
a
did you call
mind
it?
greater than mine, you
what's it
know.
called again?
Sorry.
Sorry.
So the quarry is a criminal,
Yes, which sexual assault is a
something
criminal
record-
charge, so why would it be
Yeah.
on the
Yeah.
same? I don't understand that either.
but it's not. And I know, and I thought that, and so when I do the MRC and the share things that I do, I have to get queried and sorried, and that's only good for 3 years for exactly that same
Yes.
reason. And when we opened up the warming center, I, made myself available for that too, not that we needed it. But that's why you have that.
Yeah.
I don't know, I just feel like every Little League coach and staffer has to be queried. And if I give a demonstration in a school, I have to get queried. And I just think that we should have this. And if we do have this, I would like some assurance that this has been done in the past 3 years, because there's
I would also
nothing.
like that assurance.
Thank you.
I
Thank you.
really would.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
agree.
Yeah.
I like that too.
I mean, and I actually did bring this up about a year ago to another agency, and the answer was, well, everybody that goes to the compost site is got to be 16, 17 because they drive. But that's really not true.
No, and you also want to make sure adults are protected from any predators. So if they can avoid putting a predator at the compost site, we
Well,
need to do that.
Yeah, and sometimes seniors are taken advantage of too, Yeah, so, it was absurd. But I think that there was just a conversation to not
Is that
have to do
something
one more thing.
that we can have Marty check on and
I've
that can
asked
be made
him-
available to us? Because
Yeah.
I think that,
I did,
I know he
yes.
said he has 3.
He has three, yes.
quarried volunteers.
and
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
But I
Do you have
don't
the
know
dates
when
of
they were quarried.
Yes.
It could also have to, because I know when you're like, I teach Sunday school, so when they
Yes.
first started it back in the 90s, those of us that were there, we get them every 3 years. But as people come on, they get it, so that everybody's on a different cycle. So those 3 could be on 3 different cycles, and it's just our responsibility to keep track of it. And I'm wondering, I think it's the town's responsibility, but since we're so passionate about it, do we want to, since we do the oversight of the compost site, do we want to take that responsibility?
is it the town's responsibility?
Well, it gets done through the police department.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah,
Okay.
so it's, so
Oh,
it's
then-
not that,
Oh, no,
we
then
do
we don't
it.
need to get involved.
No, so
Police are
everyone that's
involved. They
been
gotta take
volunteering
care of
over the
us.
last 10 years was quarried?
Yeah, but I don't,
No, I'm not worried.
no,
No.
that's my point.
Okay. No, but the police have the record. It's
Without-
their
right.
responsibility.
So anyway, I'd like more of an assurance, and
Yeah.
I don't think we need to vote on that. I'd like more of an assurance in that regard. do believe that, you know, if the town can pay for, or who, you know, the Boy Scouts have to be quarried, I'm sure. Yeah, you know, Little League coaches, you know, everybody does. So I'd like that for us. And I'd like somebody to say, yes, they were quarried in the last 3 years. I'd like to see SORI checks too, but I discussed that with Marty. He doesn't think that it could be done. I think that he was reacting to the government shutdown was going on at the time, that we were talking about it, so maybe that's changed.
I would hope so, because I would think that that's just as important, because,
I do too.
and that's for the protection of everyone,
It's
not
just
just
as
children,
important.
because
It's just as important.
adults could
It
be
is.
sexually
The
assaulted
town has
down
learned that
there.
lesson.
Yeah.
I would hope
Well,
so.
And I didn't
Just
know
left the
about the
station.
SORI thing either until I went for that MRC thing, and I didn't know that your quarry could expire, because I had to get quarried for Meals on Wheels too, and they, you know, that makes sense. So I just think, you know, that this might be something that, you know, got slipped through the cracks or something, but I just want some assurance. I don't need to see anything, I just want somebody to say that it was done. Somebody.
That we
Something,
trust.
yes,
Somebody that we trust.
somebody that we trust, and I don't want to, you know, reach out to the chief of police or anything like that, because I could, but I just don't want to bother anybody, and that's just the way it is. So I think that was.
Next, we have the minutes.
We
Yep.
do have the minutes. Did you guys all look at the
Everybody read
minutes?
Yeah, I got a chance.
You did, and so let's see. Everybody that was here has seen them. So
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes.
I'll second that.
excellent. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So that would be 4 ayes, 1 abstain. And I'll let Mary take care of the rest of that. Because she's been doing it longer than me too. So I just gotta sign these. Does anybody have anything else?
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Absolutely. And we have a second, so then motion to adjourn. That's it. It's a wrap.
Aye.
Thank you so much.
Aye.
I don't need to vote on that.
We don't
Do we
need to
have to
vote on
vote on
that? No.
Yeah,
I always say
All those in favor,
It's
aye.
fun.
I said aye.
I don't do that
Wait,
way, I
you said
know.
something.
Nobody ever
I don't
objects.
care.
I want to stay longer.
Nobody ever
Two,
objects.
one.
I don't, you know,